My heart didn't tighten. It just stopped pretending it didn't understand. The phone was lying on the kitchen table next to my coffee cup, which had gone cold a long time ago, like most things between us lately. The message sat on the screen like an official notice with a stamp. Not, "Hey love," not, "We need to talk," not even a lie wrapped in care. Just a statement. Clean, final. Delivered with the confidence of someone who assumes you'll swallow it quietly. I read it again, slowly, like maybe there was a hidden word somewhere that said joke. My girlfriend texted, "I'm moving in with my professor to focus on my studies. Don't be insecure." Yes, in English. She liked doing important things in English, made them sound more global, more reasonable, like the language itself would soften the fact that she'd just told me she was moving in with another man and expected me to clap politely. I looked around our small kitchen, the fridge magnets from places we were definitely going to visit again, her mug that said Boss Energy, mine without a slogan. She always said I didn't need one, which really meant I was supposed to be useful, not symbolic. I didn't finish the coffee. I picked up the phone and typed a reply so calm it surprised even me. Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. Good luck with that. Sent. This is usually the part where people throw plates or scream into empty rooms, but I work in property management. I live in a world where disasters don't start with yelling. They start with documents, with boxes checked by the wrong person, with "just sign here, don't worry." So I didn't scream. I opened my laptop. 2 weeks earlier, Mira had asked me for a small favor. She said it was for an internship, a career opportunity, something that would open doors. Her credit score, she said, wasn't perfect because of some old oversight. I, on the other hand, was reliable. She needed me to co-sign a lease, just on paper, nothing to worry about. Funny thing is, I never sign anything without worrying. That's like jumping with a parachute you didn't check because the instructor smiled nicely. I found the email thread. Subject line, "Lease, co-sign, quick favor." I remembered the night. She was on the couch, barefoot, wrapped in a blanket, talking about the future, about stability, about us, and I thought we were building something together. Turns out I was just convenient. The attachment was still there, PDF, filled out, address, parking space, monthly rent, tenant name, Mira Kellen, second occupant, not listed. How tidy. And that's when it really hit me. She didn't text, "I'm leaving you." She texted, "Don't be insecure," meaning the problem wasn't the cheating. The problem was that I might react like a human. I swallowed that bitter taste and looked at the address. A new apartment complex near campus, all glass and concrete, and words like premium and co-working lounge. A place designed for people who like pretending they're temporary, even when they're stuck. Then I did what I'm good at. I gathered facts. "Professor." She'd put it in quotes like a joke, like it was harmless, but quotes aren't innocence. They're camouflage. I opened the faculty website. The name she'd once mentioned casually came up fast. Dr. Silas Ward. The photo showed a smile that had practiced in mirrors, bio full of words like mentorship, ethics, leadership. Men like that always list ethics first. Next to it, under a foundation acknowledgement page, was another name, Lena Ward. Not much detail, but there was a public contact email tied to the family foundation. Clean, official, impossible to call harassment. I didn't write a novel. I wrote the way people write when they know every extra word can come back to hurt them. "Hello, Lena. My name is Owen Hale. Mira Kellen just texted me that she's moving in with your husband to focus on her studies. I'm forwarding the message and the apartment lease she asked me to co-sign. I'm not threatening anyone. I'm only sharing facts. I attached the screenshot. I attached the PDF, read it 3 times. Sent." Only then did I allow myself one small emotion. I smiled. Not because it felt good, because in situations like this, truth alone isn't enough. Documented truth is. 5 minutes passed, maybe 7. I hadn't even washed the coffee cup yet when the phone vibrated. Unknown number. I answered. Owen Hale? The voice was smooth, expensive, like ice in a crystal glass. Yes. This is Silas Ward. I didn't blink, but something inside me clicked, like a lock sliding into place. Hello, doctor. Mira is emotional right now. She's a talented student. I'd hate for you to make mistakes you'll regret. There it was. People with reputations always say mistake when they mean you'll pay. I already made one mistake, I said. I believe don't worry was a real argument. A pause. I could hear the smile in his breathing. Did you contact my wife? I glanced at the clock, at my sent folder, and at the question that suddenly felt much heavier than it should have. How did he know so fast? I contacted Lena, I said evenly. Yes, with documents. That could destroy careers, Owen. Think carefully. I am thinking, I replied. Have a good day. I ended the call and sat in silence for a few seconds. Here was the problem. I'd sent the email to an address that shouldn't have triggered a phone call in under 10 minutes, and yet he already knew, already had my number, which meant one of 3 things. He monitored her email, Mira ran straight to him, or she'd given him my contact long before today. That's when this stopped being, she left me for someone else. It became, they prepared for this. I stood up and walked through the apartment, opened the closet. Her suitcase was gone. Not her clothes, not the shelves, just the suitcase, the one we traveled with together, almost symbolic. She wasn't just leaving, she was staging it. I went downstairs to the mailboxes because I couldn't sit still, because when something hurts, I look for motion. Inside my box was a thick envelope, logo of the very apartment complex near campus. My hands didn't shake. That's the scary part. When your hands don't shake, it means your brain has switched to survival. I tore it open. Notice of default, late payment, failure to meet obligations. Co-signer is responsible. I read the line once, then again. Me. Responsible. Allegedly. I went back upstairs and sat at the table like a man who had just realized he wasn't only cheated on, he was being financially chained to it. I opened the laptop again. Fine. If they wanted to play with paperwork, this was my home field. I found the complex address, the leasing office number, checked the time. They were still open. I called. Leasing office, good afternoon. Good afternoon, my name is Owen Hale. I received a default notice on a lease where I'm listed as a co-signer. I need to verify the signature status and identity confirmation immediately, and I'd like the name of the agent handling it. A pause. Keyboard clicks. Yes, I see the application. It's still pending. That was good, but not enough. Pending how? Am I officially responsible or not? Formally, no. The co-signer verification isn't complete. Our system is 2-step, document and identity confirmation. Good. But the notice was real, which meant pressure had already started. Can I come in now? I asked. I want timestamps, access logs. Who submitted what? Yes. I'm Tess Rourke. We close in an hour. I ended the call, grabbed my jacket and keys, and paused at the hallway mirror. I looked fine. Too fine for someone who was about to be painted as unstable. Maybe that's what annoyed them. The drive took me past the half-empty mall, my personal museum of places that used to matter. Papered storefronts, soon signs that had meant nothing for years, food court air that smelled like fried oil and broken promises. Inside the leasing office, Tess turned her monitor toward me. There's the application. Mira Kellen, co-signer, you. But again, verification isn't complete. And the default notice? She frowned. That shouldn't have gone out yet. More clicking. Someone triggered an automated reminder using verbal cosigner confirmation. I smiled, sharp and humorless. Verbal. Amazing. Any recording? No, it's a self-reported checkbox. So she checked a box, and the machine started treating me like a wallet. I need the logs, I said. Timestamps, devices, emails used. Tess studied me differently now. Not like an angry ex, like someone who understood systems. I can print the activity log, limited info, and you should submit a written dispute stating you never consented. We'll do that, now. My phone vibrated again. Unknown number. I answered. Owen, a calm female voice said. This is Lena Ward. Can we meet tonight? I looked at Tess. At the paperwork. At the word verbal on the screen. Yes, I said. Where and when? She told me. And that was the moment I understood something important. What started as betrayal had just crossed into a phase where people don't make mistakes in bedrooms anymore. They make them in public. The diner Lena chose sat off the highway like it had given up on being found. One of those places with laminated menus, cracked vinyl booths, and lighting that made everyone look a little more honest than they wanted to be. Rain streaked down the windows in uneven lines, headlights smearing into white ghosts as trucks passed outside. Normal place. Wrong conversation. That's where the worst things always happen. She was already there when I walked in. Lena Ward didn't look like a woman bracing for a confrontation. She looked like a woman who had already decided how this would end. Calm posture, hands folded around a coffee mug she hadn't touched, eyes alert, not angry. That scared me more than yelling would have. You're Owen, she said. I nodded. You're Lena. She gestured to the booth across from her. I slid in, my back to the wall without thinking. Old habit. When things get strange, you want to see the exits. I read everything you sent, she said. Twice. I didn't expect a meeting this fast. She gave a small, humorless smile. Neither did my husband. That landed heavier than she probably intended. Or maybe exactly as intended. I want to be very clear, she continued. I didn't invite you here to yell, or threaten, or cry. I invited you because you sent documents instead of opinions. I work with leases, I said. Opinions don't hold up well. No, she agreed. They don't. She took a breath, steady and measured. He's done this before, she said. I didn't react. I let silence do the work. Different phrasing, different stories, always someone younger, always framed as mentorship, housing help, career guidance. Her fingers tightened slightly around the mug. Never long-term, never official, just enough to make them dependent. And just enough, I said, to make anyone who questions it look unstable. Her eyes lifted to mine, sharp, assessing. Yes. That was when I realized something important. She wasn't surprised. She was confirming. I didn't know about you, she said. But the moment I saw the lease, the co-signer part, that was new. I swallowed. She asked me to help, said it was temporary. She always says that, Lena replied. Temporary feels safer than planned. I reached into my jacket and placed my phone on the table. Didn't slide it, just set it there. I'm not asking you to do anything, I said. I'm just making sure I'm not dragged into something I didn't agree to. I believe you, she said immediately. That should have been reassuring. Instead, it made my stomach drop. You believe me? Because? Because he called me, she said, before I even finished reading your email. There it was again, that timing. And because, she added, he told me you were emotionally volatile. I laughed once, short, dry. Of course he did. She studied my face. You don't look volatile. Give me time, I said. It's been a weird day. A shadow passed outside the window. Then another. I glanced toward the glass. And that's when I saw her. Mira. Standing across the parking lot under the flickering light, phone in her hand, pretending to text, while very obviously watching us through the window. I felt something twist low in my chest. Not pain, not longing. Recognition. She followed you, Lena said calmly. I think she followed the situation, I replied. Lena didn't turn around. She does that. Inserts herself where optics matter. She's recording, I said, or waiting for me to react. Don't, Lena said simply. I wasn't planning to. Outside, Mira took a step closer to the window. Her posture was familiar, the slight tilt of her head, the practiced concern on her face, the look she used when she wanted to be seen as reasonable. I slid out of the booth. I'm going to leave first, I said. Public place, cameras, no scene. Lena nodded. Smart. I stood, paid for my untouched coffee, and walked toward the door at a normal pace. No rushing, no glancing back. The bell over the door rang, cold air, rain, neon reflection on wet asphalt. I didn't get into my car right away. I walked toward the gas station across the lot, brightly lit, security cameras visible. I heard footsteps behind me. Owen! I kept walking. Owen, stop! I stopped where the light was strongest and turned. Mira stood a few feet away, rain darkening her jacket, mascara perfect. Phone visible in her hand, screen glowing. What are you doing here? She asked loudly enough for anyone nearby to hear. Leaving, I said. Same as you. You're following me now? Her voice carried that familiar edge, concern wrapped in accusation. I smiled, slow and careful. We're in a parking lot, not a fairy tale. You emailed his wife, she said. That's harassment. No, I replied. That's forwarding a message you wrote with a document you asked me to sign. She stepped closer. You're ruining things, she hissed, dropping the volume. You don't even understand what this opportunity is. I understand leases, I said, and patterns. Her eyes flicked to the cameras, then back to me. You're making yourself look crazy, she said. I leaned in just enough that she could hear me without raising my voice. You don't get to diagnose me after trying to financially glue me to your exit. Her mouth opened, closed. I stepped back, took out my phone, called a friend, let it ring once so she could see the screen light up. Have a good night, Mira, I said clearly. Please stop contacting me. Then I walked to my car and drove away. In the rearview mirror, she stood still, phone down, mask gone. 10 minutes later, my phone buzzed. A text from Lena. He's panicking. That means the email worked. I exhaled for the first time that night. The next morning, the email arrived before my coffee finished brewing. Subject line, request for statement regarding alleged harassment. Campus compliance, formal language, polite concern, my name spelled correctly, which told me they'd already looked me up. Silas was CC'd. That's when I understood the move. If you can't control the story, you redefine the problem. I showed up voluntarily, clean clothes, neutral expression, no attitude. People expecting instability get confused when you give them receipts instead. The compliance office smelled like printer toner and false neutrality. Marin Sloan met me with a handshake that was professional enough to be disarming. We just want clarity, she said. Me too, I replied. I laid everything out, chronologically, calmly. No commentary, just facts, screenshots, timestamps, and one simple sentence repeated whenever needed. I did not threaten anyone. I forwarded a message and a lease. Silas arrived late. Of course he did. He nodded at Marin, smiled at me like we were sharing a secret. I'm concerned for everyone's well-being, he said. Mira felt unsafe. I waited. Marin looked at me. Do you wish to respond? Yes, I said. I wish to submit everything in writing, and I want it noted that I attended voluntarily. Silas's smile tightened. In the stairwell afterward, he caught up to me. You don't know how these systems work, he said quietly. They grind people down. I stopped, turned, made sure the camera above the exit was visible. Are you threatening me, Dr. Ward? I asked. He paused. No, he said. I'm advising you. Then please advise through your lawyer, I replied. This conversation is over. His jaw clenched. That afternoon, Marin emailed me again. Someone had attempted to upload additional evidence on my behalf from an account that wasn't mine. Verification failed. Paper trail created. I walked out to the parking lot and found a fresh scrape along my car door. No note, no witnesses, just pressure. I smiled, because pressure means they're losing control, and people who lose control make public mistakes. By the time pressure shows up as paperwork, it's already been working on you for days. The scrape on my car wasn't expensive, not even deep, just enough to say someone was here. No note, no witnesses, the kind of message people send when they think they're subtle. I took photos, wide shots, close-ups, timestamp on. Then I drove straight to work, parked under cameras I trusted, and didn't think about it again until lunch. That's the trick. You don't react where they expect you to. I spent the afternoon doing what I always do when things get unstable, tightening my perimeter. Emails to the leasing office disputing the notice, written confirmation that I never completed verification, a short, factual message to compliance reiterating my cooperation and requesting all communication be in writing. Then I waited. The call came at 6:12 p.m., not unknown this time. Silas. I let it ring twice before answering. You really don't know when to stop, he said, skipping pleasantries. I've been very consistent, I replied. I stop conversations when they become inappropriate. He laughed softly. You think you're protected because you're calm. No, I said. I think I'm protected because I'm boring. Silence. Then, you came to the garage last night. I parked my car, I said. In public. You called a tow company. I asked questions, I corrected. They answered. You're escalating. I leaned back in my chair and looked out the window at the street below. People going home, lives moving forward. No, I said. I'm responding. There's a difference. Another pause. Longer this time. You should think about consequences, he said. I have, I replied. That's why I'm still speaking calmly. I hung up before he could say anything else. An hour later, I drove to the apartment complex near campus. Not to cause a scene. To watch. Silas always parked like rules were optional. Front row spot near the elevator. Sign clearly marked for donor faculty. He wasn't donor faculty. I knew that now. Lena had confirmed it quietly over text earlier that day. I stood across the street and waited. At 8:03 p.m., a tow truck rolled in. I didn't wave it down, didn't speak to the driver. I'd already done that part earlier by the book, with photos and timestamps and signage. The truck backed in, lights flashing, metal clank as the hook lowered. And like clockwork, Silas appeared. He moved fast. Anger sharpens posture. He shouted something I couldn't hear and reached for the driver's arm. That's when I stepped forward. Not running, not rushing, just enough to be seen. Don't, I said. Silas turned. His eyes flicked to me, then to the truck, then back. You did this, he said. No, I replied. You did. He lunged for my phone, not smart, instinctive, desperate. I slapped his hand away, once, sharp, loud, not brutal, just final. The driver froze. Silas froze. Everyone nearby froze. Touch me again, I said quietly. And this becomes a different conversation. Mira ran out then, breathless, hair pulled back, panic breaking through her control. What is happening? She shouted. Silas pointed at me. He's harassing us. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't even look at her. He parked illegally, I said, and grabbed me. The driver cleared his throat. Sir, please step back. Silas didn't. Pride is heavier than common sense. The truck lifted the front wheels. Mira screamed his name. I stepped away. The sound of that SUV being pulled out of its privileged little space felt louder than it should have. Not because of the metal, because of what it meant. Control slipping. Later that night, Lena texted me one line. The donor event was moved up. Tomorrow. I stared at the screen for a long time. Then another message followed. He's not just panicking. He's cleaning. That was when the last missing piece slid into place. I met Lena the next morning in her living room. Clean lines, neutral colors, a space designed to look calm even when everything underneath is burning. She wasn't alone. Rafi Denton stood near the window, jacket off, sleeves rolled. He looked like someone who charged by the hour and delivered by the sentence. "Before you say anything," he said, "I'm not here to destroy anyone. I'm here to make sure facts go where facts belong." "I appreciate that," I said. Lena handed me a folder. Inside were copies of leases, not one, 5, different names, different addresses, same pattern, co-signers, always male, always stable on paper, always listed as supportive partners or friends. Mira's name appeared on 3 of them, different handwriting styles, same email address. "She wasn't just involved," I said slowly. "No," Lena replied. "She was useful." Rafi nodded. "And you weren't the first, just the first who kept everything." I leaned back, letting the weight of it settle. "She baited us," I said. "Then if things went wrong, she framed us." "And if we protested," Lena added, "we became the problem." Rafi closed the folder. "The event tonight decides whether Silas keeps his appointment, public funding, board confidence. If this comes out the wrong way, it becomes noise. If it comes out the right way, it becomes unavoidable," I said. Lena met my eyes. "I don't want revenge," she said. I believed her. "I want it to stop." I nodded. "Then we do it clean." My phone buzzed. A message from Mira. "Why are you doing this to me? No apology, no denial, just accusation." I didn't reply. Instead, I put my phone face down and stood up, because by then, I wasn't chasing answers anymore. I was walking toward an ending. By the time the hotel came into view, the rain had turned mean. Not dramatic, not cinematic, just steady, cold, and inconvenient. The kind that ruins shoes and patience at the same time. The donor event filled the lower floors. Valet lines stretching into the street, glass doors glowing like a promise that nothing bad ever happened inside buildings this expensive. I didn't arrive angry. I arrived early. That matters. Early means you don't rush. Early means you watch people before they know they're being watched. Mira was already there. She stood near the entrance, phone in hand, posture casual in the way that's meant to look accidental. Too close to the doors, too visible. She wanted witnesses. She always did. I felt her eyes lock on me before she moved. "Owen," she said loudly, stepping into my path. "Why are you here?" I stopped where the cameras could see both of us, hands visible, feet planted. "I'm attending an event," I said calmly. "Same as you." "You're stalking me," she said, voice rising just enough to draw attention. A few heads turned. I nodded once. Slow, controlled. "Please stop contacting me," I said clearly. "This conversation is making me uncomfortable." Her mouth twitched. That wasn't the script. "You're lying," she said. "You've been following me, emailing people, showing up." "I forwarded a message you wrote," I replied, "and a lease you asked me to sign." She stepped closer. "Say that again," she said. "I'd rather not," I replied. "Security is right there." She looked past me, just long enough. That's when Jude Kessler arrived. Mid-40s, calm eyes, earpiece. The posture of someone who'd ended a lot of situations before they got interesting. "Everything okay here?" he asked. "Yes," I said. "I'm trying to end this interaction." Mira turned to him instantly. "He's harassing me," she said. "He followed me here." Jude looked at me. not accusatory. Assessing. Sir? I'm here at the request of Mrs. Ward, I said. I can wait somewhere else if that helps. That did it. Jude nodded once. Let's step over here. Mira opened her mouth to protest. Jude raised a hand. Ma'am, you too, but not together. Her face flashed, irritation breaking through control, then smoothed again. As Jude guided me toward the side corridor, he leaned in slightly. You're not the only one she tried that with tonight, he said quietly. I didn't ask what he meant. I didn't need to. The ballroom was already full when Lena arrived. Silas stood near the stage, immaculate suit, relaxed smile, shaking hands like a man who belonged there. Dean Harrow hovered nearby, older, heavier, the kind of authority that didn't need to speak often. Lena didn't look at Silas. She went straight to Dean. I stayed back, observed. That was my role now. She spoke calmly, handed him a slim folder. He flipped through it with the mild impatience of someone expecting nothing. Then his brow furrowed. Then he stopped flipping. Silas noticed. You could see the exact moment it happened, the fraction of a second where confidence turned into calculation. He excused himself and crossed the room toward us. Lena, he said smoothly. We should talk. Dean raised a hand. Not yet, he said. Silas smiled. The smile cracked at the edges. He turned to me. So this is your plan, he said quietly. Create a scene. No, I replied. You did that yourself. He leaned closer. You think this ends well for you? I think it ends, I said. That's enough. Dean closed the folder. We're pausing your appointment, he said flatly. Effective immediately. The room didn't explode. It didn't gasp. It froze. Silas stared at him, disbelief flashing across his face. You can't. I can, Dean said. And I am. Silas turned toward Lena then, panic finally visible. Lena, don't do this, he said. You know what this means. She looked at him for a long moment. Yes, she said. I do. Security moved in, not aggressively, just close enough to make options disappear. That's when Mira pushed through the crowd. You can't do this, she shouted. This is a misunderstanding. Something slipped from her bag as she moved. Papers. They scattered across the polished floor. Leases. Multiple. Different names. Same structure. The nearest donor bent down and picked one up. Then another. Whispers started. Quiet. Sharp. Silas lunged toward the exit. Security intercepted him near the service doors. He twisted free just long enough to stagger toward me. Up close, he didn't look powerful. He looked small. Fix this, he hissed. Say something. I stepped close enough that only he could hear me. You should have parked legally, I said, and picked a woman who didn't leave a paper trail. His face drained of color. Security took his arms. Outside, rain hammered the valet lane. Red and blue lights reflected off wet pavement as someone called it in. Not for me, for him. Mira stood frozen near the doors, watching everything she'd planned dissolve in real time. She looked at me like I was supposed to explain. I didn't. I walked past her as Silas was pulled back inside, his name already becoming something people spoke carefully. The doors closed behind me, and I didn't look back. The service corridor didn't echo. It swallowed sound. That's what struck me first. You expect places like that to amplify chaos, raised voices, hurried footsteps, radios crackling. Instead, everything felt dampened, like the building itself didn't want witnesses. Silas walked ahead of me, flanked by security at a respectful distance. Not restrained. Not yet. The hotel still believed this could be contained if everyone behaved. That belief never lasts long. He slowed near the valet exit, shoulders stiff, jaw locked. The kind of man who'd spent years mastering the illusion of control and now didn't know what to do with his hands. You're enjoying this, he said without turning. No, I replied. I'm finishing it. He turned then. Slowly. Rainlight flickered across his face through the glass doors ahead. "You think this ends my life?" he asked. "Men like me land somewhere else, quieter, with better lawyers." "I don't need you gone," I said. "I need you visible." That landed. He smiled thinly. "She came to me. You know that." "Yes," I said. "That's why this worked." For the first time, his composure slipped completely. Behind us, the doors opened again. Mira stumbled out like she'd been pushed by the noise itself. Hair damp, posture collapsed, eyes scanning wildly for an anchor that wasn't there anymore. "This is insane," she said. "You said this was handled." Silas didn't look at her. That silence cut deeper than anything he could have said. "You told me you'd protect me," she pressed, voice cracking. "You told me they couldn't touch us." Lena stepped out behind her, umbrella already open, calm as gravity. "You were never protected," Lena said. "You were insulated." "There's a difference." Mira spun toward her. "You knew. You watched him do this." "Yes," Lena said evenly, "until I had proof that couldn't be explained away." Mira laughed, sharp, hysterical. "So this is revenge." "No," Lena replied. "This is containment." Mira's gaze snapped to me. "You could have stopped this," she said. "You didn't have to send that email." "I sent exactly what you wrote," I said, "and exactly what you asked me to sign." "That wasn't supposed to be real," she snapped. "That," I said, "is the problem." Rain hammered down harder now, drumming against the awning, drowning out everything except breath and pulse. A valet stood frozen nearby, unsure where to look. Someone inside shouted a name. Another voice answered with a careful, rehearsed sentence. Silas stepped toward me again. Close. Too close. "This won't stay on me," he said quietly. "People like you always think you're clean. You're not." Security moved instantly, hands up, ready. I didn't step back. "I didn't touch a student," I said. "I didn't ask anyone to lie. I didn't build leverage out of people's credit scores." His eyes flicked, just once, to Mira. That was all it took. "Get him out of here," someone said behind us. Not loud, not dramatic. Final. Silas was turned gently, firmly, toward the doors. He didn't resist. Resistance would have looked worse. Mira stood alone under the awning now, rain misting her face, watching the future she'd rehearsed dissolve into logistics and liability. "You ruined everything," she said to me. I shook my head. "You ruined it the moment you thought paperwork didn't count." I walked past her then. Not fast, not triumphant. Just done. I didn't leave the hotel grounds. I crossed the street and stood where the rain hit full force, soaking through my jacket, grounding me in cold and noise and reality. From there I could see everything, security forming a barrier, phones out, donors whispering in tight circles, someone already spinning language, pause, review, temporary. Words designed to soften collapse. Silas's name moved through the crowd like something people didn't want on their hands. Mira tried once more. She pushed past a staff member, voice breaking through the murmur. "You said this would work," she cried. "You said they'd believe you." No one answered her. That was the real ending for her. Not shouting, not confrontation, irrelevance. My phone buzzed. One message, from Lena, the board voted. It's irreversible. I didn't reply. I watched as Silas was escorted back inside, not to applause, not to protest, but to paperwork, to closed rooms and careful conversations, to a life that would continue, just without gravity. Rain streamed down my face. I didn't wipe it away, because revenge doesn't feel like movies promise. It doesn't feel loud or victorious. It feels like standing still while the world rearranges itself without you, and knowing the part you played is already sealed into the record. Behind me, someone said Silas's name again. Quieter this time, like a warning, and that was enough. The hotel staff thought the worst part was over. That's how you can tell they don't understand how collapses actually work. They think the danger ends when the shouting stops, when the loud man is escorted away, when the room exhales. They're wrong. The real damage starts when people begin asking careful questions in low voices. I stayed across the street, rain cutting through my clothes, shoes soaked through. The cold helped. It kept my head clear. It reminded me this wasn't abstract anymore. Inside the lobby, clusters formed and broke apart. Donors didn't leave right away. They never do. Leaving too quickly looks suspicious. Staying too long looks involved. So they hovered, trading fragments of information like contraband. Did you know? I heard this wasn't the first time. There were documents. Multiple leases. Every sentence chipped away at him. Mira stood near the valet stand, arms wrapped around herself, trying to decide which version of herself still worked. The victim, the partner, the ambitious student who got caught in something bigger. None of them fit anymore. She spotted me again and crossed the distance fast, slipping on the wet pavement, catching herself on a parked car. "Say something," she demanded. "You wanted this, didn't you?" I didn't answer right away. I watched her face, the frantic calculations behind her eyes, the way she kept glancing toward the doors as if Silas might reappear and pull her back into relevance. "I wanted out," I said finally. "This was the route you built." Her laugh cracked. "You think you're better than me?" "No," I said. "I think I stopped lying sooner." She stepped closer, lowering her voice. "You don't know what it's like to need leverage," she said, "to need someone to open doors." "I know exactly what it's like," I replied. "I just didn't use people as keys." That landed harder than shouting would have. She took a step back, rain streaking mascara down her cheek now, the performance finally unsalvageable. "You think this ends me," she said. "It doesn't." I nodded. "Probably not." That surprised her. "But it ends this version of you," I added, "and that's the one that hurt people." She stared at me like she was trying to memorize my face for later, like resentment might still be useful if she stored it carefully. Then she turned and walked into the rain, heels slipping, posture collapsing with every step. I didn't follow. I never needed to. Inside, the service doors opened again. Silas emerged. Not escorted this time, but surrounded. Lawyers had arrived. You could tell by the way they spoke. Controlled, low, urgent. Not about innocence. About exposure. He didn't see me at first. Then he did. He broke away from them and walked toward the doors, stopping just short of the rain. "You think this was smart?" he said. No anger now, just calculation, stripped raw. "You think you walked away clean?" "I walked away documented," I said. "There's a difference." He scoffed. "You forwarded a message. You got lucky." "No," I replied. "I paid attention." His jaw tightened. "You think they'll care in 6 months?" he said. "In a year? Men fall upward all the time." "Maybe," I said, "but not when everyone remembers the paperwork." He leaned closer, voice dropping. "She didn't act alone." "I know." That stopped him. "You think she was the first?" he pressed. "You think this started with me?" "I don't care where it started," I said. "I care where it stops." His eyes searched mine, looking for something. Fear, doubt, bargaining space. He didn't find it. "You're small," he said finally. "This was your one moment." I smiled then, not wide, not friendly. "No," I said. "This was yours." Security stepped in again, firmer this time. Silas didn't resist. He didn't need to. He already understood. The rain eased as suddenly as it had started, leaving the street glossy and reflective, the kind of quiet that feels earned, not peaceful. Lena stood near the entrance now, speaking with Dean Harrow and 2 others I didn't recognize. Their body language told the story better than words. Distance, alignment, decision. She caught my eye. We didn't wave, didn't nod. We didn't need to. She lifted her phone slightly. A single gesture. My phone vibrated. It's sealed. They can't spin it. I let the screen go dark without replying. Around us, the event dissolved. People left in ones and twos. Conversations ended mid-sentence. Alliances shifted without announcement. Silas was guided back inside one last time. Not toward redemption, not toward punishment, but toward obscurity. The most dangerous place for a man who feeds on visibility. Mira was already gone. So was the future she'd rehearsed. I stayed where I was until the sidewalk emptied and the hotel lights dimmed to their nighttime settings. Then I turned and walked away. No rush, no audience. Just the sound of my footsteps moving forward while everything behind me settled into record, reputation, and consequence. And I didn't look back.